Alright guys, we're back at Honda. And we are riding the Goldwing DCT this morning. And I want to show you the overview of how it works because it's really cool.
Okay, so just basics, okay? The key is here. Turn the key to on. Okay, it'll go through its initialization process. It will always start in neutral and tour mode, okay? It will always stop in neutral and tour mode. Because it's always starting and stopping in neutral, because we can't park it in gear, right? We have a parking brake, which we need to remember to disengage. Because it will go with the parking brake applied, but it is not recommended. Okay, so to take it off, just lift and let it go. Did you see it? Sure, we'll do it one more time. Just lift and let it go. Let it go. Okay, then your parking brake's off and you are in neutral. Okay? So the starter is the engine cutoff switch. So just go ahead and press down and it'll start up. Okay? Yeah, so you can just shut it off by just pressing, and it's also the starter button. Okay? So now we're running. All right. First thing we're going to talk about, so on the tour, not on the regular wing, but on the tour, this is how you do your preload. So you're riding 2 up, right? Okay, so if we're riding 2 up, no gear, go to the 2 up, no gear, press it, and you should feel it rise up a little bit.
A little bit?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if I took it all the way back to single rider, you can feel it move down. So that's how you do that. Whatever setting you set it to, when you turn it off and you turn the motorcycle back on, it will be in that setting. So you don't have to do this every single time you're riding with the passenger or you're riding with gear. Yep, and it's telling you. Yep. Okay, so right trigger finger. Okay, right trigger finger is your mode. So you start in tour. Tour is pretty good at everything. Okay, all right, click it one time. Sport, your shift points are going to be a lot higher RPM. Okay, so you're going to be higher in the power band before it shifts gear, and sometimes when you roll off the throttle, you will feel engine braking. So you'll be ready for that if you. And I want you to try them all out. So there's plenty of opportunities to do that. Click it again. Econ. In case you're a long ways away from gas and you need to squeak every little drop of fuel, the computer will do that for you. Click it again. It's rain. It has ABS. It has traction control. But when you're in rain mode, it deadens everything just a little more, just so that you don't get yourself in trouble. Okay? Click it one more time, and you're back to tour mode. So that is your right trigger finger, and that is doable on the fly. You can do it anytime you want. Okay? The nerdy thing about it is, if you do it with the throttle position open, it will flash, which means it's ready to go to that, and it won't do it until you close the throttle. Then it will do that. But
so it doesn't jump on you while
correct.
you've got throttle.
That is correct. Yep. Okay. So the left trigger finger is your paddle shifter. Okay. So I want you to put your hand up here. Okay. So feel what that is? That's upshift. Your thumb right here, that's downshift. Okay? So you can override in the DCT mode what gear you're in. If you're, especially in tour mode, it wants to get you into top gear. Okay? It wants you to be in overdrive. Alright? Sometimes you may not feel like that's humming your butt just right, the way that you want it to be. And it feels a little luggy. You just tap it down to 4th gear. And for a period of time, it will stay in that gear until the computer takes back over and puts it in what. So when you're riding, I want you to experiment overriding the DCT a little bit. You cannot go from 90 miles an hour 6th gear to 1st. It won't allow you to do something that would damage the motorcycle. Okay? So the other cool thing about these paddle shifters is the walking assist. So that's what we're going to do now. I want you to squeeze and
This is
hold.
what I really wanted to show you. because unlike the R18, the BMW R18, this works seamlessly.
So this is your walking assist. So it will take you forward 1 mile an hour. It will take you backward 0.7 mile an hour. So take your hand off the brake. Take your hand off the brake. Try to roll on the throttle. Roll, 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 roll. Okay, it disengages the throttle so that when you're doing this, it's controlling the speed. You can't whiskey throttle it and dump it. Because where do most tip overs happen? Other than your
Slow speed.
other than your driveway and in your garage. A lot of times when you're trying to park the bike, okay? So this is gonna help you. So what I want you to do, don't squeeze it like this. Just squeeze and hold it, and it will move you forward 1 mile an hour. So move it forward. Okay? Alright. Now don't touch the brake. Okay? Alright, now press. So this is gonna be reversed. So it's, watch where you're going, take it back, and it'll move you back 0.7 miles an hour. Good. Keep it nice and smooth. There you go. Now move it forward again. And move it back.
Does it have to have gas to do that?
What's that?
Does it have to have fuel to do that?
Yes, it does. The motor has to be
I
right.
ran out
So
of
it's
fuel
not
yesterday. I wish I had that.
it's not the starter
2
motor.
miles.
That's moving it backwards. It's the main engine. It's moving it forward and back. So you don't have to unload your passenger when you're parking like everybody else does. You just park it. All right, we're good. Loading and unloading, also good. All right, so to get out of that, go to neutral. Okay, now we're out of the walking assist. When it's time to go, press D. D. Okay, now we're in first gear. And what this is like is being in first gear with the clutch squeezed all the way in. All right? As you slowly roll on the throttle, just have to slowly roll on the throttle. Okay? That is what this is. Okay? And as long as you slowly roll on the throttle, that's easing into the friction zone and a nice smooth takeoff. Okay? So don't get on it like that. Also, when you stop at a stop sign, it's a Honda. It's going to stay running. You don't need to do any of this. Okay? So don't do that because you're a DCT and you will move the motorcycle. All right. So we covered this side. We covered this. Here is up and down windscreen.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I like that.
And that's pretty much it. That's everything you need to know. Oh, the suspension. I don't want you to stare at it while you're on your ride, but you should glance at it and watch all the things that are going on that you will not feel. Okay? That suspension is outstanding.
Very
Okay,
true.
So now we're going to shut it down and you cut off switch. Yep. Okay. That'll stop it in neutral. Actually, we should go to neutral before we do that, but it will default and put it into neutral. Turn the switch to off. Remember to set the parking brake. Put your side stand down. That's it. What are your questions?
Just to add,
On the route, we'll go through town a little bit, and there'll be plenty of time to kind of figure out where all those switches are. Turn signals are right here. Yep. So just get to know those, and then we're good to go. Let's go talk with Lou. We'll do a safety briefing, and off we go.
and one point I clarified when I talked with him yesterday is the reverse and forward, that kind of walk assist, it works uphill. So if you park pitch down on a decline, it'll still help get you out of that spot. Very cool. All right, guys, here we are at our sporty gold wing bagger with DCT. So I filmed the manual ride yesterday, and I don't know if I'm going to do one video for the manual and one for the DCT or combine them. But my takeaway from the Goldwing was I wasn't crazy about it for reasons I still can't really pinpoint. I don't know if it's just that the motorcycle is so wide, I felt a little uncomfortable on it at a stop, or if the motorcycle is so damned smooth, I was struggling because I didn't feel like I was riding a motorcycle. Let's get going. And, you know, they know what I felt. We are powered on. We're going to start in tour mode. We'll move to sport. I am not going to do any manual overriding of the transmission, which you can do with the paddle shifters, because I want to get the full DCT experience, see what the bike wants to do. But anyways, what I was saying was, they know that I came away from riding this and there was just something off for me and I wasn't really sure, and they just kept saying, you gotta ride the DCT. You'll love it. And we'll see. And remember, you can't rev the engine because, you know, it says neutral, but as soon as I go, we're going to be in gear. Now we're in first gear. Ready to go. I got 1 foot down. The bike is super wide. I can just get the tiptoes of my boots, which means my toes are actually suspended inside my boots. This is just shoe touching the ground. 1 footing it, not a problem. It's a heavy bike. Doesn't feel really as heavy as a Road Glide or even the Challenger, but because it's so wide, that can catch you. And I just wanted to show you their kind of briefing on the DCT because, you know, every time I see someone do a review of the BMW R18, they try to put it in reverse and they can't figure out how to get it to work. And this one, it's so simple and works like a charm. I got a kick out of it and I wanted to show it to you guys. Oh, just takes off like a Civic, baby. No, I'm joking. But that is insanely weird to just twist the throttle and go. So, you know, when I rode the manual, I really did not like the throttle in sport mode. It felt fine in tour. It was very twitchy, jerky. Now we're in tour mode on the DCT. And, you know, because it's doing everything for us, it's not that it's twitchy, it's just, you know, you're basically directing the clutch and the gas kind of all from one. And you feel a little bit of that push and pull. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly. I mean, it's already got us in 5th gear at 20 miles an hour. That's kind of hilarious. 30 miles an hour in 5th gear. It's not even downshift there. It just downshifted to 4th at 20. And again, I'm not going to interfere with the shifting. I want to see how the bike does it. It's really smooth. Really, really smooth. You know, the only jerkiness you really get actually is when the bike is downshifting and then you go to give it throttle. You feel that a bit. But while the bike is upshifting, it's just flawless. Smooth as can be. It's only in that switch from downshifting and then, you know, because the bike is picking the transmission, you know, the gear based on what you're doing with the throttle. And so if you roll off the throttle, it downshifts, and then you roll back on the throttle, not because you're thinking of shifting, not like that, but just like your normal driving, that's when it gets a little herky-jerky. Let's try sport mode at these lower speeds. Well, there's some of that throttle jerkiness I experienced yesterday. But better for these, you know, slow neighborhood speeds than tour mode, which has you in 5th gear at 30 miles an hour. I mean, guys, when it comes to shifting the motorcycle, it's effortless. It's really smooth. There's just that little wrinkle about when you slow down and it starts downshifting and then you want to speed up again. You feel a little bit there. But it's really impressive. Bike feels so comfortable right now. Like whatever I was feeling yesterday when I rode it, I just was uncomfortable, and I don't know if, you know, I think it was the width of the seat, because my legs are really far apart, coming to stops. I think that kind of weirded me out a bit. And here on the DCT, of course, yeah, you know, to be at a comfortable stop, I'm 1-footing it, but it's just a matter of twisting the throttle and going. I don't have to worry about sliding to my right foot to shift the bike into first from neutral or anything like that.
So there's really nothing to worry about as far as the, managing the bike's weight. That's not an issue at all. Like all the other motorcycles, they're all super heavy, but the weight is ultimately all very manageable. I'm 5'6", 5'7" with my boots on. Someone shorter than me wouldn't have a problem riding this bike. Or the manual. It's just, the manual takes a little more concentration, a little more mindfulness of where your feet are. You're going to have, if you find yourself popping into neutral at a stop, say stop and go traffic, and you need to get it back into first, you're going to have to be comfortable sliding from your left foot to your right foot and back. Oh, that felt really nice. A lot of power here. And the suspension on this bike is so smooth, so comfortable. It's a very different experience than the Challenger or the Harley Baggers, the Chieftain, just totally different. And again, you can see the wishbone suspension going up and down. You feel none of that. You can see it down there. Bike is effortless to move back and forth. The engine on this ride right now is not even remotely challenged. The exhaust is a little quiet. It's a little workman, not even workman, like business-like. You hear it, but it's nothing catchy. It's not a road glide, that's for sure. I love the way a road glide sounds. But I mean, a motorcycle like this, you could literally do 1,000 miles a day on this without a problem. It's like the point and shoot motorcycle. Just point in the direction you want to go, turn the throttle, you're there. And it's interesting, so there's no shifting. When you roll off the throttle at higher speeds, the engine braking is immediate. Very comfortable. But I have yet to see the transmission feel a need to downshift. Shift points are probably a little low for my taste. Well, there it is. It just downshifted into fourth at 40 miles an hour. And when you jam on the throttle, it stays in fourth. It doesn't automatically upshift to fifth like you're in touring mode. It just did at 60. Not sure why, how it's set up, like when it knows to shift or not to shift. I'd probably still be in fourth gear right now if I really wanted to rip it down this road. Now it's in sixth. Yeah, this windshield's crooked. Wonder what happened. I gotta tell you, the windshield on this Goldwing is sensational. It really does an amazing job blocking that wind. So I guess when it comes to the fixed fairing windshield comparison, I'm going to pick the Road Glide #1 because while it's like a bubble of calm around you, you still get all that amazing exhaust sound. The Goldwing is #2 because it just does an amazing job protecting you from any sort of buffeting or wind. But there's not much to hear. And then comes the Challenger, which, for me, superior to the Chieftain, but not as good as the other two, when it comes to wind management from the electronic windshield. And the Challenger sounds phenomenal. I love my stock exhaust. I feel no need to upgrade just for an exhaust note. And I love just the clean look of the stock pipes, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, look, this DCT is upshifting far quicker than any human's going to do it. At least this human. I mean, it does a better job than the quick shifter I just rode on the Ninja. It's faster. Yeah, I'm really enjoying riding the bike today. I mean, whatever was going on yesterday, I think it just caught me at a weird time. You know, it was about 2:30 in the afternoon. Been out here since 8 a.m. It was hot. I was tired. I think it just caught me in a weird spot. But this is a real pleasant motorcycle to ride. Big Smitty, well done. I'm not going to have a chance to ride the manual again. Personally, as enjoyable as this is, and it really is a nice ride, I would still probably pick a manual transmission. You know, I've only been riding for a little over 2 years. I very much enjoy manipulating my motorcycle. I like having to shift. I enjoy working the clutch. And yeah, it really sucks in stop and go traffic. On you know, the easiest of clutch levers, it still sucks. You know, if you're in stop and go traffic for an hour. But, you know, when you're out in country roads like this and you're in the twisties, it's a lot of fun, and I truly enjoy doing it. And like I said, you know, I've been riding for a little over 2 years. You know, maybe a few years from now, I'll be over that, and I'm like, you know what, I just want to ride. Because, you know, for me, riding a motorcycle is like a convertible times 1,000. You can't get this feeling in a convertible car. And, you know, maybe at some point I'll decide I just need that feeling of exposure to the elements. I don't need the work. And maybe I would consider something like a DCT. I'm just not there yet. I also think, you know, my own downshifting is preferable to what I'm experiencing with this motorcycle. It's just a little off. Not how I would do it. And of course, you know, you can override with the paddle shifters. And like I said, when we started this ride, I don't want to do that. I want to see what the bike does. You know, when I'm riding in curvy roads, I like to keep my torque packed and ready to go at all times. It's just fun. I love that feeling of just total power pulling at you. And this bike has that feeling, don't get me wrong. It'll kick you back in your seat. I just like doing it on the Challenger better, or the Road Glide. And the seat on this bike is very comfortable. I have no issues with it. I mean, I think I've tapped the brakes at stop signs only. You know, as soon as you let it go on the throttle, the engine braking does its job, slows you down. The bike will downshift if appropriate. I have yet to experience anything where I feel like I don't have enough power in a curve. You know, like sometimes on the Challenger, I might go around a curve in too high a gear. And there's not a lot of power there, you know, right at the ready. And I haven't experienced that on the Goldwing DCT at all. So it's probably more efficient and effective than I am. You know, so we've been in sport mode for most of this ride. You know, once we got into, you know, out of the immediate, you know, residential area, I put it in sport. Throttle doesn't seem as twitchy on the DCT as it did on the manual. That could just totally be me. And this dash is beautiful, by the way. I mean, you can see it. It's clear as day. Looks great. I really like it. Put it back in tour. Yeah, that's so funny. Touring mode, 35 miles an hour. It's got us in 6th gear. It does. The bike does feel a little luggy. Like you feel the from the engine and the handlebars. But don't kid yourself. In touring mode, you jam on the throttle on this bike, it's gonna take off. And I gotta just say that the Honda team at this event, they're just the nicest. I'm sorry, Shade Tree. I took pictures on Hondas, and I was going to do an Instagram post saying you meet the worst people on a Honda, but I mean, there are no strip clubs around, and all I was feeling was you meet the nicest people on a Honda. I couldn't do it, man. Couldn't do it. Oh, we missed our pothole. Well, we got it yesterday on the manual. It was brutal. And we are back at the Honda tent. Well, guys, that is going to do it for our Goldwing DCT test ride. Just a phenomenal motorcycle. It really is. Just so impressed with the technology in this bike. And this bike costs less than mine. It's not fair. It's really nice. And, you know, whatever I was feeling riding the manual the other day, not feeling it today. Not even close. Turn that off. Parking brake. That's a little weird. Well, that's it, folks.